Tamara thought she was just going home after a fun night. She didn't know she was walking into the darkest moment of her life. What happened that night could have broken her, but instead, it turned her into a force for justice. Tamara was a young woman full of energy and hope. During the week, she worked as a computer programmer, solving problems and creating innovative designs. But when the weekend came, Tamara became a free spirit. She loved going out, meeting friends, and dancing until her feet ached. One Friday evening, she received a call from her best friend Sharon. "There's a party tomorrow night at Femi's house. It's going to be huge. Tech gurus, CEOs, you name it, you have to come," Sharon said, her voice bubbling with excitement. Tamara hesitated. She had a busy week ahead. But Sharon knew how to convince her. "Come on, Tammy. You need to let loose. You can't keep working all the time." Tamara finally agreed. The party was grand. Femi's house was enormous, with sparkling lights, loud music, and a pool surrounded by people laughing and having a great time. Tamara felt like she had stepped into another world. As the night wore on, Tamara let her hair down. She danced, laughed, and drank a little too much wine. Sharon noticed and tried to step in. "Tammy, you've had enough. Stay over tonight," Sharon said, holding her by the arm. But Tamara waved her off. "I'm fine, Sharon. I have things to do tomorrow. I'll drive home carefully." Sharon frowned but didn't push further. Around 11 p.m., Tamara left the party. The streets were dark and quiet, and the cool night air helped her feel a little better. But as she drove, her car swerved slightly, catching the attention of a police patrol car parked nearby. The flashing lights in her rearview mirror made her heart sink. She pulled over, and an officer approached her window. "Good evening, ma'am. License and registration, please," he said. Tamara fumbled in her bag, her hands shaky. I haven't done anything wrong," she stammered. "Step out of the car, ma'am," the officer said firmly. The officers took Tamara to the station, saying it was for her safety and the safety of others. She protested, but they ignored her. The station was cold and empty, with flickering lights that made the place feel even more unwelcoming. They placed her in a small holding room with a single chair and left her there. Tamara leaned against the wall, trying to stay calm. But the silence of the room made her uneasy. She dozed off, hoping morning would come quickly. At around 1:30 a.m., the door creaked open. Tamara woke up to see an officer standing in the doorway, staring at her. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice shaky. The officer stepped inside, his gaze lingering on her legs. "You look cold," he said, smirking. Tamara tensed. "I'm fine," she replied, sitting up straight. But the officer moved closer. When he reached out to touch her, she pushed his hand away. "Don't touch me," she yelled. The officer smirked again. "Suit yourself," he said, leaving the room. Minutes later, 3 officers entered the room. One of them held a gun, pointing it at her. "Don't scream," he said coldly. The other 2 grabbed her, ripping her dress as she fought and screamed. "Stop, please," Tamara begged. But they didn't listen. They violated her one after the other, ignoring her cries and pleas. When they were done, they leaned close to her ear. "If you tell anyone, we'll find your family. Do you understand?" Tamara nodded, sobbing. When morning came, Tamara was released without explanation. She stumbled to her car, her body aching and her mind spinning. As she drove home, tears streamed down her face. She couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. At home, she sat in the bathtub, hugging her knees. She cried until there were no tears left. The following week, Tamara tried to return to her normal routine, but everything felt different. She couldn't focus at work, and she avoided her friends. Her best friend and co-worker Grace noticed something was wrong. "Tammy, you've been so quiet lately. What's going on?" Grace asked gently. "I'm fine," Tamara said, forcing a smile. But the truth was, she wasn't fine. She had nightmares every night. She jumped at every loud sound. The memory of that night haunted her. One evening, Grace showed up at Tamara's apartment unannounced. "Tammy, I know something's wrong. Please talk to me," Grace said, holding her friend's hand. Tamara broke down. Between sobs, she told Grace everything. Grace was horrified. "We can't let them get away with this," she said. But Tamara shook her head. "They'll hurt me. They'll hurt my family." "Tammy, they've already hurt you. Don't let them win," Grace said firmly. The next day, with Grace by her side, Tamara filed a report. The case caught the attention of a local women's rights group, who offered their support. The investigation was intense. Officers who knew about the assault but kept silent were questioned. Surveillance footage from the station confirmed Tamara's story. The trial was filled with twists and turns. The officers' lawyers tried to discredit Tamara, bringing up her drinking and claiming she was lying. But Tamara stood strong. Her testimony, along with the evidence, was too powerful to ignore. In the end, the officers were convicted. Justice was served. After the trial, Tamara knew she couldn't stay silent anymore. She joined the women's rights group and began sharing her story to inspire others. At her first event, she stood in front of a packed room. "My story isn't just mine. It's the story of so many women who are too scared to speak. But we can't stay silent. Together, we can fight back." The audience erupted in applause, and Tamara felt a sense of purpose she had never known before. Tamara's story didn't end with her pain. It became a story of courage, justice, and hope. Her voice, once silenced, became a beacon for others. And she knew this was only the beginning. Staying silent about injustice only allows it to grow. Courage is not about being fearless. It's about standing up for what's right, even when you're scared. Your voice has the power to bring justice, not just for yourself, but for others who might be suffering in silence. Speaking out is how change begins. If you've had even a little alcohol, it's better to let someone else drive or stay where you are until you're sober. Driving drunk can put you in dangerous situations. Whenever possible, stay with trusted friends, especially at parties or in unfamiliar places. There's safety in numbers. If you feel unsafe around someone or somewhere, trust your instincts. It's okay to leave or ask for help if something doesn't feel right. Let a trusted friend or family member know where you are and when you plan to get home. Apps on your phone can help you share your location in real time. Not everyone in a position of power has good intentions. If you ever feel threatened or uncomfortable, speak up or try to get help as soon as it's safe to do so. Something as simple as a whistle, pepper spray, or even your phone can be a way to call for help if you're in danger. If someone makes you feel uncomfortable or crosses a boundary, don't be afraid to tell them to stop or call attention to the situation. If something bad happens, tell someone you trust or report it to the right people. Staying silent can allow the problem to continue for others. Tamara's story reminds us that while we can take steps to protect ourselves, the real problem lies with those who choose to harm others. That's why speaking out and seeking justice is so important. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and click on the notification button for update on more interesting folk tales. Thank you.